Welcome back, everyone. This is Tea Time Tuesdays, and you are with me, Kelly, and Priyanka. Tea time. Hi, Priyanka. It's been a
Hi.
few weeks since we caught up. Yeah, because it's Tea Time Tuesdays, everybody hands the mugs and the coffee and teas. Yeah, and you are watching the second episode in our conversations about relationships. Priyanka and I, we are actually life coaches. We met during one of our during the course of taking our life coaching certifications, and so we've decided that what better way than to share with our experiences of what we've learned on this during our course as life coaches, and also how becoming a coach has helped us personally in our own lives. And in the midst of it, as we were chatting and having one of our coaching sessions with each other, we realized that one of the main topics, and the most talked about topics that comes up is relationships. And in our last episode, we talked a little bit about how we conduct our relationships with ourselves. And in that episode, we also rounded up on basically how we love ourselves, or how we treat ourselves, or what kind of a relationship we have ourselves, the language we use on ourselves, are how we also outwardly talk to people, how we outwardly engage with people and the situations around us. So in this episode today, Priyanka ended off we wanted to carry on in our last topics. On our last topic, which was we ended off with energy, and how energy basically screams out louder than what the words that you say and you use. And this is a very important point, and something very indeed unconscious that we do all the time when we say one thing, but our energy somehow doesn't resonate or doesn't give off that vibration or frequency of, I would say, just doesn't go in line with what we actually want to express. And energy is the main keyword here that explains it all. So I'm just gonna start off and share a little bit about energy. This is something we learned a lot during our lesson, and also as we carried and used it practically in our daily lives. I found it to be so true and so well expressed, or rather it is a fact for me personally, because this word, I'm sure many of you have heard of this expression, like energy attracts like energy. And many times, sometimes you wonder, what does that even mean? I wondered that. I was thinking, like, what exactly does like energy attracts like energy mean? So as I went along trying to observing the things and situations in my life, I realized like that the perfect way, the easiest way to explain this would be when I think of myself as a broadcast station. And when you're a broadcast station, basically, you emit frequencies out, right? People would tune in to listen to what you have to say. As a broadcast station, you are responsible for emitting frequencies and helping your listeners tap in and understand what is actually being given out. So with that in mind, it doesn't mean but for humans on our and of course we're not broadcast stations, this energy and frequency comes off so quickly to the receiver that many times we don't realize the kind of frequency or energetic material that we're giving off to others for them to receive. Hence, sometimes we get into situations whereby we do feel misunderstood. We do feel like or we do feel like we're engaging a lot. It could be both spectrums. It could come off either way. And that depends a lot on the energy that we are giving off. Yeah. So there's this very famous saying. I made it, I kind of like it, so I'm trying to make it famous. It says, your energy, your vibe attracts your tribe. So, and with that, I'm going to hand over to Priyanka, and she's going to elaborate a little bit more on this. I think I've spoken a little bit too much. I'll drink my coffee. Over to you, Priyanka.
Thank you, Kelly. And
Yeah.
you have very nicely rounded it all up as to relationship with self that we spoke about in our previous conversation, and also how is it important. And remember, we also spoke about how it manifests, which you were just describing in terms of
Right.
energy. Relationship that we hold with each ourselves, for that matter, manifests in terms of the similar kind of relationship we will have with others. For because a lot of times we tend to have this thought in our heads that why is my ex relationship like that? Because unconsciously we are emitting that kind of frequency because we think in a certain way about ourselves. And
Exactly.
all of this, yeah, and all of this comes to the point of the relationship with yourself, for that matter, is highly, I would say, dependent on your awareness level of how aware you are about yourself, how aware I am of who Priyanka is, how aware, Kelly, you are of who Kelly is. Because a lot of times we face or feel that we are something else, but we try to be someone else. Right?
Exactly. Oh,
We spoke
yes.
about that also in our previous conversation. And I think as you were speaking about energy, I could also think of how it flows into our everyday work, or in our, in our life generally, I would say. So to say that, for an example, some days we feel really engaged, like super on the, people say that, oh my God, you're on roll, baby.
Yeah.
Right? And that is why, because we are super engaged in that particular moment, or whatever we are doing in that moment, or if even if we are not doing, we are just engaged, we are just enjoying that moment, because we are in constant touch of ourselves, of who we are.
Yes.
And
Yes.
similarly, we feel very drained out, even though it's a simple task of doing something which won't take a minute, but it may take up an hour or so, because we are just not there. We are not present.
Totally. I totally understand this, what you're saying. And the first thing that comes to mind when you say about how come one task takes so long sometimes, and I'm assuming you're talking about work, especially because we are working women and we have day jobs. And I do find that at times I'm aware that I have one task to do. It's not a difficult thing, but it's not something I'm truly enjoy, nor feel like I am really convicted that I need to do this, but I have to do this out of a duty, out of a responsibility, as whatever role I'm playing in my job, so I just do it anyway. But it does get put back sometimes to the end of the day. At the last minute, procrastination happens. I'm even late for a deadline just because I missed out this part of the task because I just simply don't feel like doing it. So this feeling like doing it, basically, it's just, if I'm not wrong, is what you're probably talking about, the level of engagement.
Yes,
Yeah.
you're right. You're right. You're right. When you say that. So I think it's two things. Either you are engaged or you're not. But it can vary to degrees, the engagement level and the disengagement level. Sometimes you are in between, like a little engaged, a little disengaged. It all depends on, I would say, the word that has been used, abused, or whatsoever. I would say stress.
Yes.
It's the presence or absence of stress which makes us feel engaged or disengaged. When it is not there, we are in the flow, we are in the moment, and we don't even realize how the time is passing because we are so engaged.
I as you're saying this, it just crossed my mind. Um, how can we, is it possible then to always be engaged? And even though there are stressors around, is it still possible to be completely engaged?
Yes. So
Right.
on everyone in this world on any given moment has their 100% of energy or engagement per se. It is the awareness, number one. Number two, the presence or absence of stressor. these two can totally flip the picture. If you are super aware, then you will not have any stress. You will not feel any stress. That will not impact you. Then you are 100% engaged. And if your awareness is low and your stresses are high, is when you will be disengaged. And that is how it works. And that is how it has various degrees attached to it.
So so in essence, if I'm aware that this is a stressful situation, for example, but I can choose how I want to respond or rather react in a way that does not disengage me. Is that right?
Yes.
Is that what you're saying? Um, Basically, I do have a choice when I have awareness, because I am aware that I know that this is happening. I know that I know that basically I am aware of what I'm feeling right now, and I'm able to choose how I want to handle it. I could choose to even react to the stress, of course. As humans, we do have emotions running high, adrenaline and all of that, hormones running through, right, when we're under stress. So, but at the same time, what could be the way that I could actually tell myself? What could I tell myself then? Or what would you tell someone, like me, who is facing this when they're in this state and they want to choose to not be succumb to the stress going on, and yet choose to react, or rather respond in the most highly engaged way? How
Okay, I'll give you a very simple analogy to it.
Yeah.
So when you are driving, okay, when there is no speed breakers, you are driving so smoothly. But when you see when there is a speed breaker, the difference is when you see that speed breaker, you drive accordingly. You adjust your speed, acceleration of your car, and all of it accordingly. And yes, you will feel that stress of speed breaker, but how much? You're aware. Is it impacting you? Is it disengaging you in any way? No, you're aware of it. You saw that, you prepared yourself. But you are just driving and you don't see the speed breaker, and there is a huge bump and jerk in the car that you feel. That's when you will be disengaged. You'll be like, oh my God, what happened? And you'll be blown away because you didn't see.
That's a perfect example of how reckless, I mean, in the sense of driving when we are not aware of the speed limit that is ahead, it's expected of us, rather, or how we manage the car, how we drive the car. Yeah. If we kept all this in mind going along the road on this journey, I guess, like you said, the bumps and the obstacles and the traffic lights, all of that, it wouldn't be unexpected to us, and it wouldn't catch us off guard, and we will be prepared on how to face it because we're aware of the car and us as the drivers of what we need to do to manage the car, right? And in this case, I guess it means how I need to manage myself, how I could manage myself with this new awareness.
Yes, and I would say that the car here is our life and we are at the driver's seat.
Yeah.
It is who we are driving, and we will face those bumps on the road. On the journey, wherever you are going, you will face those bumps. The choice is, are you aware of it? Are you adjusting your life, your car according to that? Be prepared to, be prepared for that bump and not get disengaged. Or you're just looking so straight that you don't even know what is happening on the road. There is a pit, there is a bump and all that. And your ride is going to be the worst ever ride that you can face. So it is about, number one, the awareness. And once you're aware, you will have the control of your life. You can adjust your life accordingly.
Right. And I guess, yes, I would love to drive on the road or the car of my choice. I would like to be able to stop where and when I like. I like to be able to take in the scenery along the way as well. And drive by the rules that will keep us alive, but not just to survive, but to thrive, I guess, right? And to really be happy and fully engaged. I wonder as well, when this happens, there's nothing that can actually stop us, right? How can we then how can we then relate this back to the relationships piece that we mentioned in the beginning part when we talked about having a relationship with ourselves,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. That's a good point that you have brought in. How does it all relate? It all relates in a way that, like I said, we are the drivers, and sometimes when we face that bump, we lose, and that bump could be of various categories. There are various categories to the stress that we face in our lives, and based on, like I said, the awareness of which category of stress we are facing, we can look into that, just reduce the speed, the acceleration of your car, adjust it, and once you have passed that bump, once you have crossed that stress, you responded, you took whatever action you have to take, and all of that, once that is done, is when you can further accelerate your car again. So just facing the bump doesn't mean that your journey is going to be slowed down. It's just in that point in time you have to slow down and then accelerate further, probably more. You'll accelerate more than what you were accelerating before.
Yeah, totally, right? Because there's nothing stopping us. We're confident enough to press the accelerator through, to push on the pedal as fast as we want, as far as we want, because we already know how to work the car. That would be us, which would mean us in this analogy.
Yes.
In case everyone is like wondering, why are we talking about cars and road show, and we're not mechanics. It's not a fixing car. Chat. But
Yeah.
I really love that part. And as of course, when we are talking about this, we are sharing with everyone, but at the same time, we also are helping ourselves, because Priyanka and I, we basically have been through quite a few bumps in our lives, hence that led us down the road of going into coaching, but first of all and foremost, we realize how practical it is in our everyday lives. It doesn't just stop at being coached or just coaching itself. We found out a lot of other things along the way that we used to think we acted in a certain way. I used to think I would do things in a certain way, but now, coming from a different perspective and with a different understanding and self-awareness, I've managed to actually meander my way quite successfully, and it's been it's been such a joy, especially with peers like Priyanka, and we've helped each other out. So and this weekly talk show, mini chat conversation that we have on YouTube, we do hope to keep you engaged, everyone. And so we're going to end here for now. Time is running out, but to end off, we'll continue this on next week. Do drop us your comments, like us, subscribe to us, and please just throw us any questions, and we'll be happy to be in touch with you and answer your questions. And we'll hope to continue this on definitely for a few more Tuesdays. And so anything else you'd like to add, Priyanka?
I think now that we have spoken about bumps so much, then I think probably a little bit of conversation around that in our next episode will help our viewers, people who are watching, people who are facing the same struggle as we have had. I think it may be of help to them. So I can say that probably in our next episode we can talk about those bumps and the categories of those bumps on the way of our life.
We will definitely talk a little bit more about that, and probably share a little bit about our personal experience, and tell us what you like to share as well. Anyone who's dropping a comment here, what you would like to hear from us in future Tuesdays as well, for that matter. So thanks for listening, everyone, and we'll see you again next week. Namaste.
Bye.
Bye.